Now to an investigation closer to home. Alleged serial killer Bruce McArthur has one more life to answer for when he eventually goes on trial. Tonight, he is charged with an 8th count of first-degree murder. And there's something about this newest victim that sets him apart from all the rest. Joanna Rumiliotis has our story.
To police, he was a mystery, a man in a picture with no name. Until now. It's a shred of dignity in a horror story that keeps unfolding.
I can now report that the remains have been identified as Kirushna Kumar Kanagaratnam.
Kanagaratnam is now Bruce McArthur's 8th alleged victim. Killed, police believe, in late 2015. Identified only after police released a picture of him dead on 2 occasions.
The stress and anxiety over dealing with hundreds of tips, hundreds of missing person occurrences, and dozens of potential identifications for the 8th victim has been enormous.
Like some other alleged victims of McArthur's, Kanagaratnam's remains were found in planters at a home where McArthur stored his landscaping tools. But there's a chilling randomness to his murder. Unlike the others, police haven't connected him to Toronto's gay village or found an online profile on any dating apps linked to McArthur.
He doesn't quite fit the profile that we've seen before. This does create basically a wide open net.
What is clear, his story is a sad one. Police say Kanagaratnam arrived in Canada in 2010 from Sri Lanka. CBC News has learned he was on the MV Sunsea, a Thai cargo ship carrying nearly 500 Tamil asylum seekers that docked in British Columbia. Most were fleeing the aftermath of Sri Lanka's bloody civil war. To survive an arduous 100-day journey at sea, only to be murdered in the safe haven Canada represented, is a cruel twist of fate. Gabriel Chand was one of the lawyers involved in the refugee hearings. He met Kanagaratnam and remembers a soft-spoken man.
It was shocking to me. You know, he was such a nice guy, and just to know that that was his fate, it was terrible.
This man spent all that time at sea with Kanagaratnam. He doesn't want us to use his full name. They both spoke of creating new lives in Canada. Both ended up in Toronto and would run into each other over the years. He says Kanagaratnam became despondent after his refugee claim was denied. At one point, was living on the streets.
Only he came to Canada to protect his life, but unfortunately he is not with us now. It's really bad news.
Joanna is here with more on this case. It's nothing short of a miracle that both those men made it here alive. All the more horrible what happened. Anything more you can tell us about him in particular?
There's a lot of sensitivities regarding his case in particular because police were very clear not to speculate about his sexual orientation and later told us on background they're being deliberately careful because of the repercussions for his family back home in Sri Lanka where it's a crime to be gay. So those are the kind of sensitivities they're dealing with in this case and in other cases where they're still receiving calls from people who had very scary encounters with Bruce McArthur, who also come from countries that are quite conservative in values, and they are also not going public because of those same concerns.
Makes it so much harder. What is the status of the investigation now?
At this point, there's one more alleged victim whose remains have yet to be identified. And at this point, there's no other sets of remains in those planters, but they're still going through them. So that's the news that we'll be expecting to hear, hopefully soon.
Okay, Joanna, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
The 8 alleged victims of Bruce McArthur went missing over a period of less than 7 years, and all but 2 were born outside of Canada. Skanda Navaratnam was a refugee from Sri Lanka. He was last seen leaving a gay nightclub in September of 2010. Abdulbasir Faizi was from Afghanistan. His last known whereabouts, Toronto's gay village in December 2010. Majeed Kayhan, also from Afghanistan, was last seen in October of 2012. Soroush Mahmudi, who came from Iran, was reported missing by his family in 2015. And as you heard, Kirushna Kumar Kanagaratnam came from Sri Lanka. Police believe he died in late 2015. Canadian-born Dean Lisowick had no fixed address and was never reported missing, but we know he stayed at a shelter in 2016. Salim Essen, born in Turkey, was last seen near his downtown Toronto home in April 2017. Andrew Kinsman, the only other victim born in Canada, was last seen in June of 2017. The day after that year's Pride Parade.